When you're reading her poetry, you feel embarrassed as if without the permission you looked into somebody's room and saw a scene you were not supposed to see. That's how Valery Brusov describes the poetry written by Marina Tsvetaeva. Stay tuned and let's learn more about it together. Hello and welcome to our 5 minutes with Ekaterina Russian poetry. Today let's talk about Marina Tsvetaeva. I know that I've already done the video reading one of her poems and you can go and check it. Probably you've watched it already, but it was so short. I was watching it today when I was preparing this video, and it was only she was born, she lived, and she killed herself, and her poetry was depressive. And that's it, and obviously it doesn't describe anything, it doesn't show you the personality of Marina Tsvetaeva, and it doesn't explain what her poetry is. And today I decided to fix it, and her life was disturbed with a lot of different situations because she was born in the age of the centuries, and her young years again coming to the beginning of the 20th century, the same as for Anna Akhmatova, for Sergei Yesenin, for example. And that means that her life wasn't rested, and it wasn't easy to explain everything. So today let's focus only on the childhood and early ages before emigration from Soviet Russia in 1922. The poetess was born in 1892 in the family of Ivan Tsvetaev and his wife Maria, who both were very educated people. Her father was a teacher at the university whose life goal was to create the first museum in Moscow, which will allow his students to see the best masterpieces of European culture. He himself created the book showing the best pieces of different cultures because he was teaching culture in the university. And her mom was a very talented piano player who quit her career because she focused on bringing up children. Starting from the very early age, Marina knew 3 languages. She was fluent in French and German on top of her native Russian, and starting from the age of 6, she wrote the poetry. That's how talented she was and how supportive were her parents towards any kind of soul movement, any kind of education. They tried to give their children the best. Marina had a sister, Ася, and one of her early poems were dedicated to her. Let's read it together. Летом. Ася, поверьте, и что-то дрожит в Гришином деланном басе. Ася лукава и дальше бежит. Гриша мечтает о басе. Шепчутся листья над ним с ветерком. Клонятся трепетной нишей. Гриша глаза вытирает тайком. Ася смеется над Гришей. When you read this story, you can imagine everything which is going on. It's very short, simple, concentrated, but you can definitely understand the feelings and you can definitely say what is going on in the life of Marina's sister. And these actually funny and positive poems are quite rare for Marina. As for me, previously I was thinking that the poetry of Tsvetaeva is sad because of her life experience, but when we read her first poetry collection, the majority of poems are sad, and probably there was something in the soul of Marina inside starting from the very early age that kept her in this deep feelings, in this deeply concerned about what's going on. She suffered a lot, and her soul was very perceptive to the sufferings which are reflected in her poetry. Marina's mother didn't fulfill her passion to be a musician, so she thought that maybe her daughters will become famous playing some musical instruments, and she wanted Marina to take music seriously. So young poetess was spending long hours playing piano, but she thought that nobody can do it better than her mom, actually. And her mom died when Marina was only 14 years old, and the poetess herself was saying later that she would never hear such a beautiful music performed on the piano after the death of her mother. Let's read the poem called Mama, called Mother, dedicated to Marina's mother. Маме, как много забвением темным из сердца навек унеслось. Печальные губы мы помним и пышные пряди волос. Замедленный вздох над тетрадкой и в ярких рубинах кольцо, когда над уютной кроваткой твое улыбалось лицо. Мы помним о раненых птицах, твою молодую печаль и капельки слез на ресницах, когда умолкала рояль. Here you can see the sadness which will be very common in the poems of Tsvetaeva. They are beautiful, they are touching and sad at the same time. And this would be something that you will read over and over again, these motifs of the death, starting from the very early age, the motifs of death, suicide, some kind of loss, they will be in almost all poems written by Marina. And the first collection of poetry, it was published by Marina herself. She didn't find a publisher, she just did it herself in 1910. So that's how she stated that she is a poetess, that's how she started to get into the poetical environment, to meet different people around her. And that was the moment actually when people saw the beauty of her poems, and starting from the very first collection of a very young person, she was only 18 years old. Starting from this age, she gradually getting this recognition, but firstly among very narrow circle of people, then she emigrated, was silenced, and only after her death we went back not to her late poems or middle poems, we are going back to her very first collection, and then gradually get to know the development, the evolution of her poetry throughout her life. Approximately at the same time, Marina meets Sergei Efron, whom she would marry soon, and in 1912 their first daughter will be born. These were the times of happiness or relative happiness, because Sergei is preparing for his exams to enter the university, and Marina is fully dedicated to writing poetry and to bringing up their daughter. At this time she is publishing the second collection, which is called The Miraculous Lantern, and let's read one of the poems to a boy from this collection, which I found very touching. Мальчик с розой. Хорошо невзрослой быть и сладко о невзрослом грезить вечерами. Вот в тени уютная кроватка и портрет над нею в темной раме. На портрете белокурый мальчик уронил увянувшую розу, и к губам его прижатый пальчик затаил упрямую угрозу. Этот мальчик был любимец графа, с колыбели грезивший о шпаге, но открыл он бедный дверцу шкафа, где лежали тайные бумаги. Был он спрошен и солгал в ответе, затаив упрямую угрозу. Только розу он любил на свете и погиб изменником за розу. Меж бровей его застыла складка, он печален в потемневшей раме. Хорошо невзрослой быть и сладко, а невзрослом плакать вечерами. Starting from the First World War, the situation changes. In 1915, Sergei comes at war as the part of the sanitary train, and then he is going to the frontier, and Marina stays in Moscow. During the revolution, Sergei supported the White Army and immigrated to Europe, and for the long years Marina didn't know anything about him till he writes her in 1922 and she moves abroad. The immigration would be a very productive period for Marina, but this is the part of a bigger story. I promise to tell you about it later in different videos, and period would be very productive for Marina. She will publish 5 collections of books, and that would be very interesting to read together. But let's just stop here. Tell me which poem is your favorite. I'm always excited to read your comments. Don't forget about your likes and consider supporting me on Patreon, because that's how I know that these videos matter. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to meet you very soon. Goodbye for now.